Hi, guys. Welcome to the Pilosopo Podcast. I'm here at Room 11 recording studio with the CEO of Tango Records, Miss Cattleya Espina, otherwise known to the world as Cattski. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Pilosopo Podcast and
Sure.
for inviting us over here in
Thank
your
you for
beautiful
having
studio.
me. Thank you for having me. Welcome to our humble abode.
Room 11
Room
recording studio. This is
Yeah.
where all of the hits that you hear on the radio these days are being recorded in this very place. We're going to get to that in a few moments. But right now, first and foremost, Cattski,
Yes.
tell us about what inspires you to do what you do.
It's the immense amount of talent in Cebu is really inspiring for me. That I have not seen this way before when I started out. So now seeing all these talents, I feel like I want to help out in making sure that we put this out in the world for the world to see, for the world to experience. So that's what's inspiring me these days, just to keep producing great music for our local artists who are super talented.
Has it always been like this? Was there like an explosion of some sort that all of these talents just all of a sudden emerged from out of nowhere? Because
It's not exactly out of nowhere. It was like an evolution of sorts, because when I started out, it wasn't like this at all, because people back then were covering music by other foreign artists. And we already called that Cebu music for some reason.
Yeah, correct.
Which was weird for me at the time, but I had to conform. So, remember the time when I played cover songs?
Yeah.
But then, I wanted so much to get out of that notion, and the whole point of being a musician is to create something that's from me, something that came from my heart, So I started writing songs with my old band, and that's how I pretty much started. So, and then eventually, since we put out original music, people started to follow suit. People from different kinds of bands, from rock to pop, started writing their own stuff too. So
we completely forgot to tell everybody that, of course, Cattski, before she became a CEO of Tango Records, she was also a performer. In fact, she still performs.
I do, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cattski, give us your background. Who or what influenced you the most to where you are now? Who made you become a musician, a CEO of a recording company, recording studio? What happened?
I don't know if it's a who or
a what.
What? It's just really my love for music.
Okay.
And it's really this interest to be part of the music industry, and I'm not always in agreement with how our national music industry works. So I decided to somehow make my own here in Cebu.
I remember I was telling you off cam earlier that I saw you perform back in '97 in a I think it was a Christmas party of Graphic Effects where you first worked at, right?
Yeah, like my
shout
first
out,
job. Yeah.
Shout out to Ana Conejero.
Yeah.
Tell us about the word that you used is evolution. Tell us about what Cebu music was back then in '97, and fast forward to 2019.
If you ask me, it was really all about interpretation of other people's music.
Okay.
That's how we started. Cover songs.
Okay.
So even our rock bands were cover bands, like New Wave or pop rock or whatever. They were covering Bon Jovi, Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses, and that's my sort of where I came from too. Like as a young kid who wants to go into music, I feel like, okay, since everyone's doing that, I should do that too. So,
before this whole new Cebu music scene back then, during the Mango Jam era and all that stuff.
I was a kid back then, yeah. There was a Brown Out song, remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Johnny Kawa.
Johnny Kawa and all that stuff. There was already a music scene way before that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And we have to admit, there's songs like, our dads or our parents would love to sing, our grandparents would love to sing, like Matod Nila and all those old songs that... what happened to that? I mean, did it go from Matod Nila to Brown Out, or what was going on before that? Do you have any idea, or at least any theories of what happened back then? before the Cebu music scene that churned out hits like Brownout?
There's really no support, Jig. So
Okay.
like from Matudnila, after that, people go back to listening to Tagalog songs or whatever is available on the radio.
Okay.
We don't have the same machinery as the one in Manila,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So, but then we had people like Johnny Kawa who wanted to showcase original music,
Okay.
and so it's fragmented, like from that era and then this era and then no support. So it fizzles out.
There was also like a Bisrock era, right?
There's that too, and then eventually
with Capedro, right?
yeah, yeah,
That era as well.
yeah, and then that fizzled out as
Okay.
well. So, because of the lack of support from
Okay.
the audience. So one of our vision here in Tutu Tango is to actually educate our audience, so that we don't have to prove to them that we have good music.
Okay.
It's them realizing that, oh, this is Cebuano music.
Okay.
So like it's a natural thing for them to support it. Like for example, here's a big example. When they listen to Y101 and they hear local music being played, they automatically think in their heads that it's a foreign song.
Okay.
And then they realize later on, not until the DJ says, that's actually Lourdes Maglinte or that's actually Wongois. That's the only time, wait, what? So like, it's a compliment, but at the same time, it's also an insult.
Okay.
You
A
know what I mean?
compliment sounding insult.
Yeah, right? So now we just really need to like fuel the interest of the audience. We need them to consume our music so that there's an economic thing going on between a symbiotic relationship between creator and consumer. So the reason why that didn't happen before is because we didn't have the machinery that we have now. It's accessible on Spotify and that earns. It's accessible on iTunes or wherever else, on YouTube, and you can monetize that.
Okay.
So there is an economic, like a tangible economic situation going on now. And so there's more chances that musicians can thrive. And before, because they didn't have as much opportunities, of course they quit after. You know what I mean? Like they had 2 songs and that's it. So now we want to keep fueling this movement now and like just putting out good music. And
First of all, when you mentioned in Y101, you don't know if it's a foreign artist or a local artist until the
DJ would
DJ points it out. We actually try to consciously not do that. We try to consciously just put a song from a local artist or from an international artist. It doesn't really matter. We put you guys in equal footing.
Right. Which I appreciate. Yeah.
We want you guys to be beside, Lourdes Maglinte to be beside Adele.
Right.
And make the audience feel that you can hang with each other.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's no much disparity when it comes to quality, if you ask me, which is a good thing. But also from the other end of the spectrum, we also need to remind our audience that these people, our local artists, also need their support.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
What is Cebu sound? I mean, like, is there something palpable, something concrete, something
it's not
original?
palpable. It's not concrete.
About Cebu sound. Is there a thing that you hear something like, for example, let's just give an example, K-pop, for example. It's K-pop because it's in Korean, right?
Right, yeah.
And what is Cebu sound?
I've been doing this for almost 20 years, but I still don't have like a concrete answer for that. But if there's one thing I know for sure, the way that we're different is that we're more experimental.
Okay.
We don't follow any formats.
Okay.
Not as much. And then I have to say this, and probably people will be pissed off, but
it's a good thing to piss people off sometimes.
it's a little more intelligent than the other. In the Philippines, anyway, it's a little like
a little smarter.
It's a little,
Just a little bit, right?
yeah, like it's and then it's the English is more convincing.
Okay.
And then when we do the Bisaya thing, also it's unique.
Okay.
You don't hear that from anywhere else.
Okay.
So I would say we're a little more not talented. I'm just saying that there's a unique sound to it when it comes to those things like, I don't know, content.
Okay. So you're saying it's still, you're still grappling with the idea of what Cebu sound is, but we're getting there, right? We're finding our soul.
Yeah. But On the other side of it, really, is that we shouldn't have like a specific sound. I'd rather that we're more versatile, that we're capable of spitting out different genres, which is what we're doing here.
Okay. You mentioned Spotify, the availability of songs everywhere, online, on the internet. That means that you're going to hang with global artists as well, meaning to say artists like, Taylor Swift or big bands like this and that. So is that... I'm sure that can be quite challenging and almost insurmountable, right? Considering that you have to hang with these great and big machineries that you mentioned. And here we are in Cebu, a small town, with a budding music scene. How do you intend to compete with the big guns abroad?
I don't want to. You see, when you say small town, if you ask me, actually, this is a growing town and this has potential. So if you ask me, one of our songs, in just 2 years, earned X amount of money. Like,
say it, man. Say the amount.
I don't want to, but it just feels weird. But
why?
Okay, so let's just say, like a 300,000 stream, which is not a lot for one song. Earned 5 digits. From before, we couldn't have that. Right? So there's potential here if you just trust them and sorry.
Is that an important phone call?
No.
Somebody died? No.
So no. So if you trust our audience here, if you educate them well, then they will keep streaming. Then they will have, because they have access. So they will give you money. You know what I mean? So we didn't have that before. So I don't want to compete with the foreign content yet. I want to build what we have here and see our potential and keep the money here. But the game of Spotify anyway is playlisting, being part of a playlist. Which has something to do a lot with data. When I went to South by Southwest Music Conference, it's a big topic. Data in songwriting. It matters what lyric you put so that you have more this algorithm on Spotify that's going on. It matters. So that's why I don't want to compete with technology so much, but I'd rather that I can trust our market here to listen to our music.
So meaning to say your primary target market is the Cebuano or the Filipino? Or the Filipino,
yes.
Why not go global in the beginning?
No.
We have the technology to record great songs. We have the talent. And we can communicate with a global language, which is in English, very well, fluently.
Yeah.
Why can't we just start off?
I'm not saying that I'm not going global, G. That's why I go to conferences in America and in Canada, just because of that. But it matters that we build that here in Cebu. It matters because there's a vision that soon, if we become a destination for music, if we become a UNESCO Music City, if we build our artists here, then we have more chances of competing globally. We can go to MIDM, we can go to South by Southwest, we can go to Music Matters in Singapore. That's the plan. I don't want to have that, go global, but do you have the structure? Do you have the structure to support that? When you say, let's go global, what? By putting it on Spotify, you're saying you're going global already? No, it doesn't work that way.
How does it work?
For me, you just really need to build the audience here. And build Cebu as a destination for music. That's it.
Build Cebu as a destination for music, meaning to say people will come down here from all over the world to watch Cebu music.
And I know, and I learned the framework to do that. I went to the States in South by Southwest to learn how to build a music city. That was a whole afternoon of workshops.
The biggest open secret is that the United States' biggest export to the world is Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And the perception of being in the United States, doing something in the United States, being a band, an artist, a musician, a singer in the United States, all eyes are on you because the whole world is watching.
I don't want to be a musician in the United States.
No. What I'm trying to say is, if you set that against that stage, if you view musicians like that from the United States, and they have a running. They already have like a huge advantage, right? Because everybody watches the United States, not just because of their music, but for everything else that they do. Hollywood, entertainment in general, that's their biggest export ever. So, and they have a movie industry to speak of as well. Like for example, India. And they also have a movie industry to speak of. So everybody's also watching India and all that stuff. What I'm trying to drive at here in Cebu, there is no movie industry to speak of. We don't have that in the background, and it might be difficult for them to spot us here in Cebu.
So that's why Tudu Tango Records has two offices. One in the States, run by Ann Montuerto, my co-partner, my co-founder. So it's her job to distribute our catalog of music to networks in America. And we've already been signed. Lab Rats, I was in a documentary for Hillary Clinton.
Oh, really?
Two of my songs. Yeah,
really?
of course nobody cares in the Philippines.
Which one is this?
See Hugh and Monsters. We were part of a PBS TV series. So nobody cares because these are not Hollywood type, not the big ones. But those are wins for us. We actually earn money from that for publishing in dollars for our own artists. You know what I mean? Like, so by saying that we're building our market here, it's not to say that we're limiting ourselves from the world. I get my information from them, from the first world. I go to those very expensive music conferences just to get knowledge so that I can apply it here in my city. So that the mindset of my audience here in this city will also be, will level up. Not your Manila style level up, but our style of leveling up. So it's not to say that we're limiting. It's not, but I just need to build this here that we can trust our audience here. Because who else? Who else can we trust with our music? It should be our people in here in hometown.
What does it mean when you say trust your audience? What do you mean by that?
That they will appreciate our music and support it, consume it, so that we will have a symbiotic relationship. So there is an economic situation going on here. So there is an industry. We don't have that now. We're the ones building that. I have to say, sorry. Yeah, we're the ones doing that.
You think you can do it alone? I mean, like
of course not. That's why I say I co-create it. And I try to work with other people to help us do this, but not everyone is on board.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to talk about as well, because Cebu music is so territorial, right? I mean, I know you guys have like little factions here and there. Why is that? Why is Cebu music territorial? Is it because artists are in theory very territorial, or
they're just assholes, plain assholes? So it's like this. For me, it's like a resistance of doing the new. We're doing the new things. We're doing new things. All of our strategies, our business models, all are new. We're not even following what is going on in Manila. But there are some people in Cebu that's still there from that old era and want to follow the old structure, which is what Manila is still doing.
What is the old structure? I'm not familiar with the old structure of music. What do you mean?
So not traditional record labels. That's an old structure. We are non-traditional. Yeah, traditional record labels. Payola for the radios.
We've never accepted payola.
Exactly, good for you. Yeah, things like that. Things that those huge major labels are doing. For relying on management. So at the same time, since you're relying on management, you're being exploited and you're not giving enough. For me, the new structure is empowering the artists so they can do it on their own. They can promote they can promote themselves by saying, go to my Spotify, go to my shows. They're empowered.
Of all your differences, I'm sure you guys can agree on a few things as well, right?
Maybe.
And maybe you guys can talk about the things that you agree on instead of focusing on the things that you don't agree on. Is there like a forum that you guys can do that, or maybe somewhere?
No, we're way past that.
Really now?
Yeah, because if you're talking about the Artisco people, if I have to say it, we're way past negotiations. We're now in the legal system. Yeah, so although I'm not getting myself involved in the legal whatever proceedings that another group is doing against them, but we're already in that level, and it's no longer something that we can have.
So I'm not even talking about any specific group, but you mentioned Artisco, but there are other groups, right?
Yeah, Melt Records. I work with them closely.
Okay.
There's Cattskis.
Okay.
I work with them closely. That's
So
all.
when you say those groups, you mean to say these are recording companies? Sort of?
No, I don't know. Cattskis is a recording company,
Okay.
but they're in different format.
But I'm curious, why'd you have to belong to a group? Why can't I just be a singer and then, I'll talk to you, I'll talk to him, I'll talk to everybody? Why is that?
There's no group. There's
Okay.
no group. I have a company.
Okay.
And then I have a bunch of artists in my roster, and we have a contract that says we're 50-50 with whatever it is that we're doing.
Okay, what if
Standard.
somebody from, let's say, Group Y and Group Z would like to work with you guys? Would you be okay with it?
If they're talented.
Yeah, yeah.
If they have good music,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the only reason. I don't care if you're. I don't care if you have good music. That's the only reason why I work with you.
Okay.
That's the only reason why I work with all the artists I have.
Okay.
Wongois, Vincent Echo, Lourdes Maglinte, Mary Anchit.
Okay.
That's the only reason.
Because-
Because they have good music.
Okay.
Other than that, if you don't have good music, don't even talk to me.
Okay. One of the things that people talk about when they say musician is that you're like a hungry musician, like like you're just in your garage, playing music and all that stuff, and it's no longer true, right? Because musicians are actually, especially Cebu musicians, they're actually making a good living from it, right?
Yeah, not yet, not good enough yet.
Uh-huh.
That's
Okay.
the goal, that they can thrive.
Okay.
My goal really is for a Cebuano musician to say, I can now quit my day job
Okay.
because my music career can support me.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
We're not after
far.
all these years. We're still far.
We're far.
You mentioned that you don't even follow what's going on in Manila, right? And we know of a lot of Cebuano artists who have made it big in the big city, right? Like Urban Dub and a few other bands, right? What are your thoughts on that? Must we go the Manila route before we can go global? We can leapfrog Manila and just go local and then global without hitting
Yes,
Manila.
we can
Is that
leapfrog.
possible? Is there an
Yes.
example of that, for example?
Not yet,
Not
but
yet.
soon.
Okay.
Yes, I'm working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, but not for me. But I have artists that
Okay.
I'm working on to. Yeah, but not to say that we don't go to Manila to promote ourselves. We just had a Manila tour. What I'm saying about the old Manila system is the OPM sound
Okay.
and the showbiz route. That is what I'm uncomfortable with. I don't want to manipulate my audience. I want authenticity. I want you to like my music because you really like it, not because we were shown on TV a million times, so that now you're gonna have to like me because I'm always there. Or we were played on the radio a million times because somebody paid payola, and now you're gonna have to like me because I'm being played a lot of times, so now I'm in your head. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I like authenticity. I like the audience to like the music because they really do, without any manipulation whatsoever.
A lot of business establishments, a lot of individuals, and a lot of companies are being charged by FILSCAP a certain
Yeah.
amount for
Yeah.
playing music, right?
Yeah, it's called performance rights. Yeah.
Yeah, performance rights.
Yeah.
And this is actually a business model that is from the United States, right?
SCAP and VMI.
right?
Yeah.
What is this all about? And do artists who deserve to get paid really get paid? And explain to the layman what this is all about.
So it boils down to intellectual property.
Okay.
So in America, when ASCAP started, it was an association of songwriters,
Okay.
right? And they wanted to protect their intellectual property.
Okay.
So when their songs are being played in establishments that earn money, for example,
Okay.
restaurants, the music has a purpose to provide this mood or like background music for your business. So they want to make sure that they earn from that, is what I'm saying, because they're being used so that this restaurant can earn is an example. So that's why they started charging establishments for performance rights. The great thing about America is because they're so first world and their mindset is way above us, they put the performance rights in the business permits.
Already built in, sort of. Yeah.
Like sort of built in, and they've found a way to not make the American business.
Was this fairly new, or has it been going on for a long time?
It has been a while. I think
Because one of my theories, my stupid theories is is that because of the internet, it has become so easy to access songs. And in fact, there was with the advent of Napster about 20 years ago, everybody was just downloading songs from the internet, right? And they were and record sales, album sales, song sales have dipped dramatically. In fact, you don't find a super band now like like a Journey, which sells 20, 30 million copies, or a Michael
Beatles,
Jackson, or the Beatles, who sell 60 million copies.
No more,
One of the biggest artists now is, like I mentioned earlier, Taylor Swift, and she only sold like 8 million, 6 million copies. So that's already huge for somebody who's an artist in 2018 or 2019. I suspected that this whole SCAP thing is because artists weren't getting paid enough and they were forced to perform live.
Actually, this whole started because there was no internet before.
Okay.
Yeah, so when people from Nashville, who is it's a city that's more or less like a factory for songs.
Okay.
So Hollywood buys songs in Nashville. Yeah, or pop. Okay. It's a misconception to say Nashville is just country. I've been there. It's not. So it's a factory for songs. There are 56,000 songwriters there. When I was there in 2015.
56,000 songwriters in one small town.
Yeah. So during the day they wait tables, they do something else, but I don't know. They live in apartments with other songwriters. Okay. So it's a factory for songs.
Wow.
Hollywood people buys their content from Nashville. Okay. So how do we protect those songwriters? Okay. When now their songs are now given to the artist who will be this famous person. Mm-hmm. So that's how SCAP came to be, because to protect the
songwriters,
the intellectual properties of the songwriters, because those are their intellectual properties being performed by people like Whitney Houston. And I will love, and I will always love you. It's written by Dolly Parton. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it all started out as that. So at the advent of the internet, there's a lot of ambiguity. So that's why there's a love-hate relationship with FILSCAP.
Okay.
Yeah, because even they charge Spotify for something, they charge YouTube for something. So even if I'm a member of FILSCAP, for me, I feel like I don't really get in, like I'm not protected, or because I'm a small player. Okay. FILSCAP works for the Gary Valencianos of the Philippines. Okay. You know what I mean? Because those are mainstream. Okay. And it's being played in the malls, in McDonald's.
But how do you know that for sure?
So FILSCAP gets a list from the supposed establishment. Okay. And then they figure that out. Mm-hmm. They have a system. Mm-hmm. So they see it's ambiguous. Yeah. Yeah, it's unclear how they do it. So that's why I have a love-hate relationship.
Because I know somebody who owns a Mexican-inspired restaurant, and he was saying to FILSCAP, "Hey, we're playing all Mexican songs here. Are you going to give this all to our friends in Mexico?" How does that work? If, for example, an establishment just plays all Mexican music, does FILSCAP bring the money to Mexico? How does that work?
They're supposed to bring the money to whoever is a songwriter of those songs.
How do you?
They have this system.
How do you equitably distribute that?
Yeah, there's exactly. It's a big question, but performance rights organizations like FILSCAP, they're all over the world. Okay. There's CSAC for Europe. Okay. There's BMI and ASCAP for the US, and there's another one for Asia. I forgot their name. So they're all supposedly connected, and they have this machine that helps them monitor all the songs that are being played all over the world through the submissions of the playlists or through. They even have spies to go to, to establishments and make a list, and then they report. So there's a huge questionable thing there. Okay. That's why I'm not a fan. I'm actually not a fan, but they're legal.
Okay, so songwriters actually get some.
Supposedly, I get
from
small amounts.
Okay.
Monthly.
Through mail.
Yeah, they put it in our card.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every once in a while.
I do get, yeah, but see, because I know how they work, because I was trained in FILSCAP too, like for 2 days, about how the system works. Okay. I feel like what they're giving the artists are very small compared to what they're getting from all the establishments. Okay. So for example, they charge McDonald's from a 2,000 peso per branch nationwide. Okay. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know? So where does it go? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of question, and that's why I say, because sometimes I get amounts here and there because somebody somebody played my song on TV or whatever.
That's a song that you wrote.
A song that I wrote, and I get a little bit of something, and then I wonder, and then they get taxes out of it.
So the artist does not, the singer of the performer of the song does not get anything from that?
Because the label already has paid her for her interpretation. It's a songwriter.
Paid her for her interpretation.
Yeah.
You mean for the performance, right?
The performer, yeah.
Okay.
The singers, those who don't write music, they make a living out of their performances.
Okay.
Because they're paid for their performances. So when they interpret a song, they're also paid one time. But the songwriter earns royalties every time the song is used.
Supposedly.
Okay.
Very complicated.
It's very complicated. I haven't even. I've tried to study it, and then I plan to go to the SCAP conference in the States soon, and I feel like even that won't give me the answers that I want to have.
Okay.
They're coming here, and I'm supposed to meet them.
Cattski, sometimes we have this perception that if you love to do something, it's easy for you to do, and songwriting, performing. Well, for the untrained eye, for those watching from the outside looking in, it looks like a fairly simple activity. Take us to the process of creating a song, from writing the song to writing the tune and recording it, and then finally releasing it to the world.
Okay, it starts with a demo.
Okay.
Well, you write a song, and then you finish it. So and you create a demo so that you can study it.
Okay.
In my case, this is my process. As a producer, not my own songs, but if someone comes to me to ask me to produce their music, I study their demo and I try to get to know them as artists. And then I visualize and I conceptualize what our end product should sound like.
Okay.
Okay. I focus on the end product because I'm the producer. I'm supposedly to make sure that you have a good product. And so we go through the process of conceptualizing, and then once I have a solid direction, and then I track.
You record it?
Record it. Okay. Starting from drums to bass, everything. And then record vocals, and then we do mixing. It's a tedious process, but it's so much fun. I love it. And then after we do mixing, we do mastering. That's getting it ready for the streaming platforms.
Because we hear stories about how John Lennon wrote "Imagine" in a tissue, and then in 30 minutes, and went to the studio and recorded it. Yeah. It's not that simple, right? Or sometimes it can be that simple.
Yeah, it from John Lennon's point of view, I'm sure it was simple, but when he got to the studio and he worked with his producer, it starts to be complicated because it's now.
So how long is that process from conceptualizing to releasing it to the wild, so to speak?
In my case, I ask for a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean a month for the recording process?
Yeah, I asked for a month.
Okay, that's excluding the process of the artist writing it down and writing the tune, right?
For the artist, from the songwriter's point of view, a song can be finished in 20 or 5 years.
It depends, really, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've written songs in 20, 30, a day. I've written something that lasted for 2 years until it was ready. It's different each time.
Okay. I
even believe that, when we write songs, it's not really us. Someone else is writing it for us. We're just a vessel. Because sometimes when I finish a song, I can't explain how I did it.
You don't know how you did that?
Like, how?
Okay.
I can't. Like, after writing See Hume, I wrote that in 20 minutes, and I asked myself, how did I do it? I don't know.
Because
stream of consciousness.
One of the things that a song does, it takes you, to that moment in time when you first heard that song. For a listener,
yeah.
When you hear a song, it's almost like you're magically transported to that moment when you felt exactly like that, and when that song was playing on the radio, who you're with, what was the, what you were drinking, what you were eating, what was the smell of the air. That's what it does, but it doesn't do that to your songs. You don't have that sort of instant playback in your mind.
What do you mean? Like
taken back to that moment when you wrote that song, you completely.
Always, now that I listen to it, yes, I always remember. Even when I play it, I remember how I felt and why I was driven to write it. But if you ask me how I did it exactly, I don't know. I was so into the moment that it feels like I wasn't even there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cattski, you've been in the Cebu music industry for how many years? 20, 30 years?
Almost 20, yeah.
20 years. What are the biggest challenge of aside from the ones that you mentioned, of Cebu music? And when you say growth, when you try to grow this industry, what does that mean exactly? Where are the points that we can grow as an industry? Because you even mentioned it's not yet an industry.
It's really growth and mindset. It's the stigma that local music is never as good as foreign.
Okay.
Just to take that out in the picture, and which is it takes to change minds is a lot of work. It takes a lot of campaigning. It takes a lot of education. So we're doing that into Tango. We really have part of our company really has that education aspect. The second thing is for brands to also open their mind and to invest in local music. Because brands these days, especially the bigger brands, all are based in Manila, right? Because that's the center of our business, whatever. So when they're told about music, they only consider Manila.
Okay.
So the money is kept there. They don't spring it around. So, but they're already starting. So I'm thankful for big establishments like Ayala and SM, Seaside to be exact. Both malls are investing in local music for the summer. That's why I call it gigs season. Because they're investing. They before Ayala Center wouldn't allow original music. They prefer cover bands. And it was just because of us that we really insisted that no, if you want us, this is what's happening. Original music. It's been 5 years, Jigs. Every year, Songs of Summer.
Yeah, I know. This is the Ayala thing, right?
Yeah.
Performing live is watching an artist perform live is one of the best experiences for a music fan, right?
Yeah.
In fact, one of the reasons why one of the symptoms of this so-called low record sales is that artists are performing live more often because that's their bread and butter now.
Yeah.
Before you could just be sitting in your room, and having a cup of coffee, and your album could sell like a bazillion copies, and you'd be fine with that. But now you're forced to sort of
go out there
in the world and really perform.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
You really need to, because music is communal.
Okay.
It needs to have an audience. Yeah, and to make a connection with your audience, you have to be there, be available, and be visible. Yeah, that's why people go on tours. That's why we go on tours, to reach out to a bigger audience. Okay. Yeah, because it's communal. It can't be enjoyed alone.
When you say tour, and that's why you go on tour, which tours are you talking about?
Like people in the States, they go on tour all
but
the
here
time.
in the Philippines, in Cebu.
That's why we go to cities.
Okay.
That's why we go to Manila.
Okay.
And do bar tours there.
Okay.
Yeah, because we need to reach out.
So how's the response like for Cebu music in Manila?
It's hard. It's I know. It's more like.
Because we're a very regionalistic country, right?
Yeah.
Ganahan tag mga Bisaya ra po ang mutanaw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, even when we go to the Middle East or the United States or Europe, if you have a local artist, it's only the Cebuanos or the Filipinos who will watch you guys, and very few foreigners who will watch. Or
eventually that will change.
Okay.
Yeah, eventually it will change. So in Manila, people are very receptive.
Okay.
Because it's different.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Manila people also are very, especially this independent group, the independent scene. They're very supportive. Yeah, you can go to their bars. We had a great experience there. Just recently, last year, September.
How about down south here in Mindanao? How's the response like for your music? Have you tried doing a tour?
I can only feel it through what feedback we get from them.
Okay.
Because we're being played on the radios there. So it's just very small activity for now. But we do plan to go there. It costs a lot to go on tour. So if we do get like a supporter or a brand that will bring us there, why not? We're starting.
You're starting to penetrate the Mindanao area as well.
Well, we're starting to get brands to look into local music. So recently we worked with Boysen. Recently we've worked with My Cab. So now, Ayala has an Ayala in Davao. This could all be, we could be like we will have access to all these places soon. Which is I want to achieve that. One thing for sure is that I get a lot of emails from places in like Davao and Cagayan, sending me songs. They want to work with me, and then for now, I would always say, it's best that you guys there do your own thing and follow our business model because we can't accommodate you if you're not Cebuano.
Like you mentioned earlier, you mentioned that you're in this because you love music, and you look like you're a woman on a mission, right? What's the end game for this, Cattski?
The end game is after 5 years, these kids that I'm mentoring now, they should be able to run this on their own because I gotta go. Like I'll give it 7 years, 5 to 7 years, and they better be ready because I'm not doing this forever.
And I'm talking about as well as aside from the studio, but aside from the studio, the music industry in general.
Yeah.
What do you think is the end game? What's the ultimate goal for Cebu music?
That these kids who are now that I'm working with now, they should be leaders. They should lead and they should follow suit and collaborate.
How will you know? What are the parameters, the gauges in which you can say to yourself, we've already succeeded. Cebu music has already succeeded.
I don't think I'm not here to succeed, Jigs.
Okay.
Like say, I succeed. No, I'm just here to do a dent.
Okay.
And make sure that whatever it is
What is
that
that?
I've
What is a dent
experienced,
for you?
I've already done it.
Okay, so you're actually fine now.
Yeah.
How about making a
Growing
song?
it is another issue.
How about making a global hit song? Would that be a good target, a good goal?
No, it's not. It's unrealistic.
Okay, why is it unrealistic?
Making hit songs, like your Ariana Grande types, takes a lot of politics, takes a lot of Hollywood influence to get to that point.
Okay.
I don't want to spend my time trying to do that when there's so much work to do here.
Okay.
We have that mindset that we're not worthy if we don't have a hit song from Hollywood. That's bullshit.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I'm not talking about a Hollywood hit song. I'm talking about a global hit song.
Well, in our own ways, sure. If it becomes a hit song, but I don't want that to be my end goal. It's bullshit. Like I'm wasting my time.
Okay.
I'm here to make
Because
sure that artists will have their own albums, to make sure that they will be
Because that's an
empowered.
impossible goal. Is that what you're
It's
trying to
not
say?
an impossible goal, but if I get it, fine.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna kill myself to do that.
Okay.
No way. I'd rather just build my audience.
You
here.
mentioned it takes a lot of effort, a lot of time, a huge machinery to make Ariana Grandes, right? But we also hear stories about the route of, let's say, Justin Bieber or John Mayer, when they took the even Colby Kaile, the internet route, right? They were spotted on YouTube, and they became this global success because they had like a few bazillion views on their YouTube videos, and the recording company picked them up, and they became this even bigger star.
Yeah.
What do you think of that route, for example?
That's not on me. That's on the artist.
Okay.
Because I'm not your savior for crying out loud. So if you want to go that route, go for it. Nobody's stopping you. Yeah. I don't have that, but I don't have that in my head. I have in my head right now is to make sure that this business thing that we're doing for the music industry in Cebu will grow.
Okay.
That's it. For our artists, for our musicians to thrive here, that they don't have to go to Manila to kiss people's asses so that they can make it there. That's it. That's my goal. My route is never to kiss anyone's ass so that I can make it in music. I want everyone here to thrive, to make money out of their art. That's it.
Or like being able to express themselves, right?
Yeah.
In a very concrete way, for example, because the medium is beautiful, right? To be able to express yourself to the world through song is
exactly
an unbelievable expression of art, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I wouldn't. That's why that's my life. It's a miracle to be a songwriter, to be able to express yourself through this wonderful product. You end up with this wonderful product that's being played on the radio.
And it changes people's moods. It changes people's lives, that when you hear a song.
Yeah, music is really part of every human being. And that's for sure. You're a DJ, you know that for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel that for sure when I go on board in the morning. I feel like people's lives are just a little bit better because we play these songs from musicians like
we have a role to play.
Like you. we already play a lot of songs from local artists, like songs from your stable of artists.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But we need more, right? If we have a lot of viewers out there, listeners out there who would like to become musicians, what do you have to tell them to make it, to be able to do it right?
First of all, if you have the knack for writing songs, you really need to learn the technical side of it. So get a workshop, get education, and then start writing. Because it's important to know the rules so you can break them. Yeah, so once you have songs, you can record a demo through your phone, or you can work with people. Hey, let's turn this into something, which is happening already. Like, because of technology, people can just go to somebody's bedroom and make stuff. Yeah, which is amazing, right? Yeah, they don't have to go to a studio. They just have to make it in the room. And all the education is available on YouTube. You just have to search whatever, and YouTube will teach you how to make an EDM drop.
A what? An EDM drop.
Oh, an EDM drop. It's right there. Yeah, how to make it. How to make a bass line for EDM, or or for trip hop. What's a kick sound for? It's all there. You just have to look for it. Yeah, anybody can be a musician now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, some musicians aren't really musicians. They just have an audience, right? And
Yeah.
they become accidental musicians sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so there's no limits.
How has the internet changed the face of Cebu music?
A lot. It just 180 turn.
Okay.
Yeah, because now we have this wonderful tool where we can put our shit and you can access it automatically through the palm of your hands. Yeah, so yeah, it has changed a lot.
So you mentioned that some of your artists have actually made some quote unquote real money, right? 5 figures you mentioned. Is this an isolated case, or is this
not an isolated
happening in a lot of artists, at least from your stable?
No, it's not an isolated case. Our artists, their songs are earning,
And,
not in big amounts, but
based on the data that you have, because you mentioned, Spotify, for example,
that's all
uses a lot of
data.
analytics,
Yes.
a lot of data, right? Who are consuming these songs from local artists? Cebuanos mostly.
80%, and then the rest of 20, you won't believe this, from
Okay.
Germany,
Okay.
Russia.
Okay. Maybe there's Cebuanos from Germany or Russia, right?
I don't know, but who would listen? Why is someone from Slovakia listening to me? You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. Yeah, but it makes me happy that local people are actually listening to the music.
It's funny that you mentioned that your goal is not to make a hit song. That your goal is just to, guide these people, do it the right way and all that stuff. I'm curious about that because one of the greatest and most fulfilling things that an artist can have is that the world embraces his or her music, right? And I think one of the things that artists in general, I'm not sure about you, are looking for is appreciation, is love, is that you're being accepted in all corners of the world or many corners of the world. Why isn't that your primary goal?
I'm not saying I don't want it.
Okay.
I'm just saying I don't want to kill for it.
Okay.
I don't wanna have all these wounds just to get it.
Okay.
Because what if I don't? I'm wishing that for all of my artists to have a hit song, but that's not easy. That's not an easy
How
feat.
difficult is that? I don't know the process of how to
Well,
make a global hit song.
It's a lot of things. Like these days, it's virality.
Okay.
You gotta have a catchy Justin Bieber sounding song.
But isn't the internet isn't virality sa binisaya pa chamba-chamba na siya? Like
There you go.
you just
Kaya ano di ay tanang hit songs chamba-chamba raman.
exactly.
So really mo ay imo di kong patrabahoon para sa chamba?
No.
That.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But what I'm trying to say is, the harder you work, the luckier you become, right?
Yeah, but what man ko niingon na I don't want a world hit song. That would be really great.
Okay.
But even my idol, Imogen Heap, the world's most talented musician,
Okay.
wag siya hit song.
Yeah.
But yeah, si Taylor Swift maadto niya para magpahimo og hit song.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think-
It's a case-to-case basis.
Okay.
It's a case-to-case basis. There's never really kanang an actual kanang formula to make a hit song.
Okay.
It's more luck. and like a good machinery and a good team, a good PR team. That's why you have all your Ed Sheerans of the world, because they have a good PR team. Somebody hired someone. Sony hired this PR team to make this artist so that he will have this big hit so that they make money out of it. Ana ba ya? Dili man siya kanang wa lang. Kalit lang, no, dili.
From out of nowhere.
No, there's no such thing. You're naive when you think of it that way.
But that's how viral videos are. These are from out of nowhere.
So far viral, yeah. So you get lucky. You get lucky. But there's no formula.
Exactly.
So I don't want to work that hard just to get a hit song on the same level
without a formula, right?
Oh,
if you have a formula, maybe you'll work on it, right?
Yeah. May check on. Yeah, do I have as much influence as the people in the UK to send Adele to the US so that she will be, you know? Yeah, naman gihapon ang influence diha. So, sure, if someone from the UK looks at Vincent Echo and says, we want him. Sure, let's work together.
Okay.
How do you want him? We want to invest on him so that his song Kiss and Disappear will be Billboard top of the charts.
Okay.
Sure, let's work together. Here we go.
Okay.
Then whoever that record label is will hire someone, will hire another one, will hire a stylist, will hire whatever to get to that point. You think that Ed Sheeran just became that way? No, he was a homeless guy from the UK.
Okay.
Somebody discovered him. Somebody invested money on him to make sure that he becomes this. It's there's no such thing as what lang? No.
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. But I do want a hit song. Let it happen naturally.
One of the things that I notice about you, and without actually saying the word, is that you, being a musician in the Cebu music scene, one of the things that you look for is authenticity, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
How important is authenticity, and how do you define authenticity in music?
That you're not pretending to be someone else.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
You know, like.
But aren't we a combination of everybody that we meet, everybody that we hear, and sometimes it's difficult.
Why do you think Vincent Echo will work if he sings pop songs?
I don't know. I have no idea. We'll never know.
His influence is Bob Dylan.
Okay.
So he writes and sings like Bob Dylan.
So isn't that inauthentic of him to sound like somebody else?
No, it's not. No, he's influenced.
Okay.
Yeah, but if he sings a Gary Valenciano song, he's being inauthentic.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
That's not his truth.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, he wasn't pretending to be Dylan. He's influenced by Dylan. And so his truth is, I love this kind of music. I will write this way.
Okay. Really interesting.
Nobody's asking him to, hey, don't write like that. Write like this, and I will sign you.
Okay.
Inauthenticity starts with pretending to be something you're not. So here in Tudu Tango, we make sure that our artists don't have to go through that. Because there's a lot of that in Manila.
How do you know, how do you get that vibe that an artist is authentic or not?
You can tell.
You can tell.
You can tell.
Okay.
Like, you can tell. Recently, Lourdes has grown into this super soulful R&B-ish singer. So we're going that way. Her album will be sounding that way.
Are you working on an album from Lourdes Maglinte?
Yeah,
maybe
that's halfway.
Maybe you can tell me about some of the artists that you're working on. Tell us about the artists that you're working on these days. Your albums. You mentioned that you're working on an album with Lourdes Maglinte.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned Vincent Echo and a host of other artists. What's going on in your stable of artists?
Working on 2 albums, Lourdes Maglinte, and that's for her debut album, and then Ella Melendez for her sophomore album. And then singles by new upcoming artists who just recently I've discovered really good songs, so slowly getting there. I'm working on mine too. Want to release something before the year ends. Like an EP, like a 5-song album, a Cattski, whatever album, yeah.
How often do you guys perform? How often do your artists from your stable perform? And how often do Cebuano artists perform in Cebu? Because Cebu, it is a growing city and there's so many pockets of entertainment that we can perform.
Yeah.
There's Mandaue, there's Lapu-Lapu, there's Talisay, there's Karkar. It's becoming a huge ass city, and our population is growing. Traffic is horrendous, so that means there's just more people here.
Yeah.
And the beauty of Cebu is it is central, so meaning to say it's really a cross section of the Philippine population. There's so many.
It's a melting pot.
It's a melting pot, right? So, how often do you guys put your music out there?
So it's summer. It's gig season.
Okay.
So it's a weekly thing.
But it's just in the malls. Don't you get gigs, or don't you do gigs, let's say in Lapu-Lapu or in Talisay or places like that? Or are their tastes different in
I want
those?
to play in the airport.
In the airport?
In the international airport.
Really?
I want to, yeah.
What do you mean, like in front of everybody? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I want to do that. I was in Portland.
Okay.
There was a gig in the airport. It was awesome.
Like, who is there like a fixed audience or just people walking around?
There was a fixed audience.
Okay.
Because people would stay.
Okay.
Those who arrived would stay a little bit. Those who are about to leave would stay a little bit, watch the concert.
Maybe I can ask my good friend Steve Dikdikan, the general manager of Mactan International Airport.
Please.
Maybe you can
Work something out? Yeah,
let's
sure.
work something out, right? So that we can
Yeah.
welcome the guests with Cebu music.
Exactly. It's awesome, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, why can't the airport in Cebu do this when we have so many international people coming,
Okay.
or like even just domestic ones? It's awesome. Like, I want to play at the airport.
You mentioned that we need to consume some local music, right?
Mm-hmm.
How else can we as a population, Cebuano, fellow Cebuano, support Cebuano music or Cebu music?
Other than the streaming platforms,
Okay.
go to the shows.
Okay.
And actually get to know the artist. Buy their merch, buy their CDs, or, you know, just talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
Is a good start. Yeah. Hoy, we have nice music, Mandi.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a start. And just recently, you know, a relative of mine, maybe in her middle ages.
Middle ages, okay.
Yeah, like they would say, wait, sa kuan ba si kuan lamia din yung mo kanta, like, you know, things like that makes me happy.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, like just that. Just the fact that they know that, wow, that girl is awesome. Or that guy, oh my God, have you heard that guy? Is already something. I mean, they're not talking about the artistas on TV.
You know, you were here from the beginning 20 years ago with this whole Cebu music scene came, and then you're still here now, 20 years after.
Almost 20 years. Okay.
Let's fast forward to 5-10 years from now. Give us the future of Cebu music.
Music City, UNESCO Music City.
Okay.
That's my dream.
What does that mean, UNESCO Music City? I don't understand what that means.
So there's a music city in in Europe. It's called Katowice in Poland, the same size as Cebu. So it just means that it's a city that has a solid music economy. So it has artists who are thriving. It has quite a number of venues where they can play. There's festivals, and that the government is involved in the whole thing. That's it. And you have to apply for that.
That's a music city. But that's just one example.
That's just
Are
one
there
example.
many music cities all over the world?
Yes. There's a few in Canada. Montreal is a music city. I went there to check it out. Yeah.
So if you're a music city,
You can really feel from the airport to where your hotel is. It's like going to Nashville. It's like going to Austin. When you just by stepping on the airport, you know there's a lot of music there. You know that there's a solid music economy there. Something that these locals are proud of. That's why when you go to Austin, they'll say, welcome. This is the capital, the music capital of the world.
you mentioned that they're being supported by their governments.
Yes.
Have you spoken to the government these days about
No way.
making
No
a
way.
music city
I'm
here?
not doing that. I'm going to be rejected.
What do you mean? You haven't even tried it. Have you tried it? Not,
I haven't.
you don't want.
I don't want to.
You don't want to try it.
Not yet.
Not yet.
First, because I feel like I don't have as much yet.
Mm-hmm.
So if like we grow our catalog of albums, if we grow our number of maybe a little more venues, and then maybe like a solid, constant music education effort. Like every month there's a workshop. Every month workshop, seminars.
You know, we may have some government officials watching or listening to this podcast. What do you have to tell them? How important is a music city for the city of Cebu, the UNESCO Music City distinction for the city of Cebu?
So they're missing out a lot because there's economics involved in music. You know, so the city can actually earn from this, and then we can further contribute to our general economy. But they're not, because it's just music. Nobody's taking it seriously.
Why not?
I don't know. We have bigger problems like trash and traffic. You know what I mean? So I'm like not doing it. Ima's a friend of Tomas. email muffin. Yeah, right. Like it's. Can we go talk to Tomas? Like I want to show him something, like my case study and my pitch. I can do that, but I feel like I'm going to be rejected because I don't have enough yet.
When you say not yet enough, what is enough?
Like a number of venues, number of studios, number of artists, and then the amount of music. And then it takes numbers to convince politicians. So I'm not doing that yet, but somewhere along the way.
Would you say that the growth of Cebu music is sporadic, is slow, is fast?
Slow. Yes.
Because you mentioned stops and starts, right? Because you mentioned that we had a scene and then it fizzled out, and then we had another music scene like Bisrock, and then it fizzled out again. So how do you keep the music playing? Sorry, James Ingram, I'll get you some money for that. And rest in peace, by the way. Yeah.
Audience.
Okay.
It's the audience.
How do you not have stops and starts?
Yeah, the audience, keep giving them something to look forward to. More music and grow our catalog. That's it. The audience will be involved.
I'm sorry, Cattski, but I feel like you're not giving us enough songs on Y101. You should give us more songs because I know you have a lot of songs.
I did send.
When did you send?
Mike chooses whatever.
Okay.
Not everything. He doesn't play everything, which I respect.
Okay.
So I send songs there, but not everything gets played. So I just respect it.
All right.
Yeah, but for as soon as we have something new, we always send it right away. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah, we have a lot of songs, but I understand how Mike would just choose. It's okay.
Creating an album is not peanuts, right? Making an album is not peanuts in terms of costs.
Yeah.
Aside from the emotional and the time exposure, you have a lot of financial exposure as well. How expensive is it to make an album?
$200K.
Is that the minimum
At
or
the
average cost? What is that?
For average here.
The average cost is 200,000 pesos. I know a lot of great artists who have not recorded anything yet because maybe they can't afford it, right?
Yeah, that's a sad thing.
Don't we have a mechanism in which we can support these local artists that are recording studio ready but have no funds to do that? Don't we have like some sort of a Kickstarter kind of deal here in Cebu?
We should do that, or like a support system.
Yeah.
At least singles. We can start with singles. We don't have to really do albums.
All right.
These days, we can still put you on Spotify for a single.
Do artists, like for example, if they have a bunch of songs and that's enough to make an album, pitch their
They don't have to. What we can do is, if they really want to record, we can come up with a program wherein they can pay terms.
Okay.
Or we'll say if their music is good, we'll do the publishing side of it, and so that we have a chance to earn from it too.
Okay.
Things like that.
You mentioned earlier that being a recording artist in Cebu is not yet a full-time job.
No. Sadly, I'm the only one who's working full-time.
So you're the only person who's doing full-time as far as music goes. So you mean to say these artists in your stable at least have day jobs?
Yeah. Vincent Echo's a graphic artist.
Okay.
Yeah. Lourdes is the manager of Medyo Maldito,
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's why she's also maldita sometimes.
Yeah.
Medyo.
Yeah, she has a talent representation job going on, So, who else? Everyone has a day job. Mary Ann, she's a teacher. Yeah, everyone has a day job. Like sometimes we get trouble doing scheduling and all because of day jobs, but we survive.
Well, I guess that's what is common in the United States. I remember hearing stories about how he's a waitress by night and she sings by day. She does this in the evening.
Sarah Bareilles, that's her life.
Yeah, she used to be a waitress, and those stories that you hear or read about. So I guess this is a similar scene, right?
Ish, yeah. But we really do need the support of the radios, the support of the brands, establishments to really look into local music as the source for their entertainment. Before we always let's get someone from Manila. It's always like that. So
do we have local artists who get invited to perform in Manila, for example? Because we hear a lot of stories and a lot of events, a lot of concerts that have Manila artists, who come down here and they're jam-packed and all that stuff. Do we have artists from Cebu that will go to Manila and have like a huge crowd watching? Not yet. Not yet. Okay.
We're working on it. Yeah, not yet.
you mentioned that we have a very different approach when it comes to music compared to at least Manila, right? Aren't we supposed to sort of be in sync with them if we want to sort of penetrate that market, or
No.
being this different will help in hopefully penetrating
Well, my take is to
the
be
Manila
different.
market?
My take is to be different.
Okay.
Because when they want something different, then they look into Cebu to bring something different to which is starting already. Like there's a plan for this first huge music conference in Manila called Sonic Pilipinas. So it's being run by a company called Homonym. So they're now looking into the Visayas to bring in representation there. So that's a good invitation. So we can. I was invited to do like a fireside chat like this with an audience, so that I can tell my story about Cebu music. You know, these are great things that are starting already. So we can have like, if you think of this way, you know, like there's so many islands in the Philippines, right? And every island has a different. I know it has a different sound. So the Mindanao people have their own character in their music too. So if they have their own industry as well, then we can have this exchange of things. We can go to Mindanao, have an audience there. They buy our stuff, then we come back, or they come in here and they guest our shows. If you have that kind of thing, it would be a great country for music, if you ask me. Yeah.
Oopsies. I'm getting a little uncomfortable here with my back, but I still want to talk to you if you don't mind. We have time, right?
Yeah.
So we mentioned earlier that the original Cebu music, at least as we know it back in the 80s and 90s, was really very like a cover kind of thing. Everybody wanted to sound like somebody, this band wanted to sound like Garden, Chris Cornell. I remember Franco sounds like that. When you close your eyes, you sound like it's Chris Cornell performing. When Franco sings, or when Tango sings, it sounds like he's Sting. That's why the nickname is Stingoy. I jokingly tell him. Is this too much to say that Cebu music is very westernized? Would you say that? Is that correct assessment?
Yes. That's a correct assessment.
So what happened to the influence of the artists, the songs like Matod Nila back in the day?
Yeah, I wish that grew.
Why didn't it sort of creep into our musicality as a city?
Well, if you ask me, colonial mentality. We have that.
All right.
So I've embraced that. We're always going to be a victim of that.
Okay.
Having been colonized so many times, you do have a tendency in your psyche to like look up to the outside world as that's something to aspire. That's my answer to that.
Well, of course, the United States, whether we like it or not, they have probably the most successful music industry as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. They actually made they invented the phonograph.
Yeah. They invented radio.
Yeah.
The internet, right?
Yeah.
So you can't
deny it.
Deny that. But how will Cebu music, or let's just not talk about Cebu music. Let's talk about the artists. How will the artists find something organic, something that is his truth and does not sound like it's just sounding like somebody else?
So
how do you find authenticity, in other words?
So it's like this, Jigs. In general, we are all westernized. You're speaking English.
Yep.
You're speaking American accent. So
this is my accent.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we can no longer deny that. But when I do say authenticity in your songwriting, meaning it's something that cannot be explained. I can just tell that when Vincent Echo sings his songs, I know that it's him. I know that he can't sound anything else. That's just his voice. And that's just the way he's playing. So that's it. For me, that's already authenticity. For me, that's already authentic. Regardless, his influence are American, then he's being true to that.
Most of the artists here in Cebu, do they write their own songs, or do they have like a songwriter for them?
I don't accommodate those who have their own songwriter. I only accommodate singer-songwriters or artists who write their own songs.
Why not?
What do you mean?
Why don't you want somebody who has a songwriter for him or her, or for the band?
Well, that's not the brand of Tutu Tango Records.
Okay.
That's just not the brand of Tutu Tango Records.
Is there like a dissonance when the artist or the singer is not writer of the song?
No. If he's a good singer, he's a good interpreter of somebody else's songs, because there are songwriters who can't sing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they just write and they just find someone to interpret their songs for them.
But you don't want that.
No, that's not our brand.
So your brand is songwriters who perform.
Yeah.
You know, one of the most important parts of performing is really communicating with the crowd, right?
Yeah.
And aside from that, you've got to have some, whether you like it or not, I don't know if this is the appropriate word, some gimmicks, right? You have to know how to express yourself in a way that the audience will embrace and will probably react. Because I think, I'm sure it's true in radio, it's also true in music, that they can love you, they can hate you, but they can't ignore you. You know what I mean? You can say something that they hate, or they can you say something that they love, but they'll react to you. If they don't react to you, that means you're not trying on hard enough things. You're not expressing yourself wholeheartedly.
Exactly, yeah. So, if you're asking if my artists are like that, they're still growing. I think only Wongoys have gotten that far in terms of like a natural gimmick, like when they play Blema, they've grown so much. They've been together 9 years. So Vincent Echo, in terms of his live performances, he just recently transitioned to a big band. He plays solo from before in intimate places, which he is very effective in. But when he goes to the mall, it takes a little work. When he has a big stage, he has fears. So it takes a little more practice, and I just allow them to like bloom on their own.
Culturally, Cebuanos are, compared to other parts of the Philippines, are kind of humble people, right?
We're also kind of humbug.
Well, culturally, I think we don't really want to express ourselves as much.
We do have like some kind of low self-esteem.
Yeah, exactly.
Going. Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
I noticed that in a lot of local artists. Not just from your stable, but when these artists perform, they don't go all out. Murag, you feel murag like mauwaw. You feel that they're not really expressing themselves fully. And if you're an artist, and if it's only 90% or 70% of who you really are, the viewers can feel that. They can sense that.
They can sense your fear. Yeah.
But if you go out there and leave it all up on out on the stage and you just give it all you've got every time you perform, that's the definition of a performer, right?
Yeah.
Can you teach that?
You can't. That's experience.
Experience.
Experience builds that. So as much as we tell them, oh, hey, do this or do that, or like, hey, try not to be so scared. So for example, Vincent Echo played in Ayala just recently. He got so scared, so it was a little crazy. So he wasn't very effective with his spiels, blah, blah, blah. He got scared. But then he played in Rollout in Draft Punk, and he was a little more safe because it was his community.
Okay.
So he got a little tipsy, and then he was so confident. It was so different. I'm like, see, you can't dictate all these things, but we tell them to not be so scared, be confident. You're being supported, you are loved. But when you're there already, and whatever triggers you. Yeah, so you see someone like your old teacher, oh my God, like like, oh my God, my kaaway is here, oh my God. So a lot of things can affect you. So we try to be kind to them in that sense, that we try not to make them feel bad. But we do tell them that you still have a lot of work to do for your performance,
Performing is a medium of a kind of storytelling, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're telling your story with your song. And I don't know how you teach this or how it's being done here in Cebu, but the story of your song is also important. The story of who you are is also important. In fact, that's why people will watch this podcast or listen to this podcast, because they want to hear your story. How are we in the storytelling part of the Cebu music industry?
We have work to do.
Okay.
We tell them every day, almost every day, to say something about their song, why and how they wrote it. But yeah, in the actual show,
you don't hear that a lot, right?
Yeah, but I don't get mad because why am I? It's pointless to get mad. So like just recently, if someone fucks up on stage, I'm like, whatever. I already told you.
Yeah.
But sometimes they do well too, and
Because I think that's a way to endear yourself to the audience is to be vulnerable, right?
Exactly.
To tell your story.
Exactly.
And you already wrote a song about what happened to you, man. Might as well express it and give it all. Tell everybody the whole story and not just a fraction of it.
Yeah.
So mulagi atong culture is real kind of a shy and kind of a low esteem kind of group of people, right?
Yeah.
And it shows probably in our writing as well and in our performing. I think we're like a people that needs to remove something up from our asses, right?
That's true. Yeah, I keep saying that to them, but you can't force it. Just recently naman ko na happy ng Wonggoys ng performance.
Okay.
It's like, okay, they're really natural na sila on stage, confident na. Took a while.
One of the biggest hit songs of Tutu Tango is that song Way Blima from the Wonggoys, right? And we had a chance to talk to the Wonggoys when that song first came out, and we talked to them again when it became number one in the WT20 countdown.
Yeah.
Tell us about your side of the story of that song Way Blima.
It was like they just sent us a demo. Yeah, we tried Bisaya, and I'm like, okay, it's not bad. Let's do it. And so they came here. We did a demo. It was fun because I did not have any expectation. I'm like, we're just gonna do this song. I'm like, we're just gonna try this, and so we did. It was a fun song to do. If you listen to it, it's like, okay, let's just play around with this. It's not very serious. Yeah. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know. I sent it to you guys, and then boom.
Then they have an entire album, right?
We're working on it.
Was that just an EP?
That's just a song, single.
No, but there were other songs like
they have two albums before that.
Oh, prior to that, On My Way and the Weekend song.
Yeah.
Was that from a previous album?
Yeah, that's from the Hi Hello album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Why Blima is really
that's just a single.
A single. So you're working on a new album.
Yeah, I've been waiting for their demos, but I don't know what's going on.
But is that due for release already this year, next year? What's the timetable for that? Do you give artists timetable, by the way?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't, but I push them to like for Lourdes. I always say like before September we gotta have something solid. I think in quarters. So if we have to consider we releasing it in the last quarter, it's a good time to release songs in December or something.
We hear stories about artists like Prince who has like a million songs in his garage somewhere, or Taylor Swift who writes songs like it's going out of style. Do we have songwriters like that here in Cebu that just churn out songs, from when they're sleeping they can write a song?
Sadly, we don't. They have day jobs, like I said.
Okay.
We don't. Yeah, but they keep a lot, like 20 songs at a time. But the prolific ones are the young ones now. Like Lourdes is a very prolific songwriter now.
Okay, she writes her songs?
Yeah, regularly. Vincent Echo is also prolific. I think I was prolific when I was their age. Mm-hmm. That's the age where you are prolific. Like
really?
So something triggers you. Yeah.
And then when you get a little older, you stop being prolific?
Oh, I don't know why. Yeah,
maybe happens. Life happens. Maybe busyness happens, right?
Yeah, because we do other things. Mm-hmm. For like people like Michael Jackson and Prince, that's all they do.
Yeah, well, because it's making them a bazillion.
Yeah, exactly. Like so, whatever.
Wow, and you have a scheduled recording today?
Tonight, yeah.
Tonight. Can you tell us who this is? Is this a local artist?
Juanita Romualdez.
Okay.
She's an artist from Viva Records.
All right.
Yeah.
And is she going to be under Tutu Tango Records?
I'm hired by commission as a producer.
A producer. Okay. Yeah. So you do that as well. You also produce. You don't have to.
I'm not exclusive to Tutu Tango Records.
Okay.
Yeah. It's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But you're saying Tutu Tango Records only accepts singers that write their own songs, right? But if I want to record a song that somebody wrote, you'll accept that. You're just not going to be in my stable. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, of course. You can record here. Anyone can record here. But I can't represent you. Or I can't sign you. Tell us about this recording studio, Room 11 recording studio. Mm-hmm. How did this come to be? And why did you decide to open one for Cebu? Because of the demand. Okay. We do have our
like our regular recording studio, like our go-to recording studio. But because of the demand, there's just so many songs to be recorded. That's why I decided to just invest on our own to make sure that everyone's accommodated.
So you mean to say there's not enough recording studios to record the local artists? No. Really? That's how many artists there are in Cebu?
Yeah.
Do you have a sort of a head count of how many songwriters and singers there are in Cebu that are part of your group and not?
I don't have a head count, but there's a lot, and they're all productive. They're all writing their own stuff. So also the recording studios, before we came to be, the recording studios were located in people's houses. You know what I mean? Like
backyard.
There you go. That's one example. There's so many. So there's not a system. It's not a company. It's one guy who accommodates you whenever.
It's not organized and professionalized.
It's not professionalized. So that's the reason why I built this, because I wanna help out make that professional, level up a little. So we have 5 engineers here. We can accommodate anyone, anytime.
You know, Cattski, I'd be remiss if I don't talk about this. So I think this is related to what we talked about earlier. This whole VISPOP thing, it's pretty controversial. Everybody was talking about that a few weeks ago. And maybe I can ask you what your take is on this whole VISPOP controversy. First of all, tell us exactly what happened, what the story is, and where the controversy lies.
It lies in the fact that VISPOP is an intellectual property from Jude Kitamundo that he gave to Artisco to use.
He gave, okay.
Not really just okay, let's do this project together. He pitched it to Artisco. So Artisco did it for 5 years until he gave up, until he resigned. But behind his back, Artisco registered that in the trademark, in the IP or whatever trademark behind his back. Intellectual property cannot be owned by a company. It just should be owned by one person. So somebody
owns
from that group convince the IPO or whatever agency that he owns it.
Okay.
Because it cannot be registered if it's for a company. It has to be.
Who is that other person?
I don't know, but it's one of them.
Wow.
So, and now that they have the rights to that, and Jude left, it's a corporate, supposedly a cooperative, and Jude left. So now they can't VISPOP is their only project. So they can't do it without Jude. But they needed, so they sold the rights. They wanted to sell the rights to Sacred Heart, batch 85. And then there was an outcry because for us, the fact that it was registered behind his back was already an injustice, and someone else is taking advantage of this injustice. From that's my take. So there was a reaction, and so Jude Kitamundo was forced to show every evidence that he has against Artisco and all the injustices that were done by Artisco to him, even to me. And then that's it. It blew up. And so Sacred Heart, thankfully, decided not to go for it anymore. Like they're gonna do another thing, but they're not gonna call it website. Oh, I mean VISPOP.
Okay.
I think that's from what I heard. Yeah.
It's funny because I attended that press conference. I was there. I shook their hands and all that stuff. Unbeknownst to me, there was like some bubbling story underneath.
Yeah, so that triggered it.
The press con.
The press con triggered it because people were reacting. Like, what? Wait, no. So yeah, it was a stressful moment for everyone. But
do music competitions help a music industry of a city?
If you ask me, no.
It doesn't.
For me, contests, competitions, they are for whoever is funding it or whoever is sponsoring it.
But it doesn't help a music community grow?
No.
Why or why not?
How will it help?
I don't know.
Does it empower the artist? It empowers the artist to join a competition and to follow a certain formula to win it. I don't really see the point of it.
So how do you think a city and its people, how can they support and how can they build a environment that's conducive to a good music community? How how do you what should they build in terms of physical structures, in terms of maybe like support groups and all that stuff, maybe offices? I don't know.
No, I keep saying this. We're really relying on the audience at the end of the day. We're really relying on the local consumer.
But the models that you've seen all over the world, especially in the United States, because you were there to observe their music industry closely, right? What sort of support does the government give to the musicians?
Oh my God, they have support. There's really like money put out to make festivals, to do things, shows, educational purposes. They have that. We don't have that. Like in Nashville, for example, it's really their cup of tea. Music is their dried mangoes.
Okay.
Yeah, music is their dried mangoes. So as young as 4 years old, they're already teaching them songwriting.
For free. I mean, like there's like
there's workshops for kids like that. Like it's also their culture. Like, oh. Yeah.
But you mentioned that there's an economic side to this. And in fact, if you help build a music city, the city will be benefited, right?
Well, of course. So if we have big festivals, the taxes of that, the people who come here to join a festival, to watch a festival.
Okay.
There's an economic side to that.
So, but you're scared to pitch it, at least not
yet. I feel like I'm not confident yet.
Maybe you can ask your friends from the industry to help you pitch the idea.
I already asked Jude Gitamondo. We're still working on. He's not confident yet too. Okay. He's also working on his stuff.
All right.
So we will eventually. Baguio is a creative city. That's not a music city. So that's a different category. But they got it. They worked for it. So they're considered UNESCO creative city.
Already. Wow. Is it the first city in the Philippines that is already UNESCO?
Yes.
What do you call it?
UNESCO Creative City or UNESCO Music City.
For what? What
they have networks. They call it for Creative City networks. So they exchange resources,
So what is their main artwork there in Baguio?
I don't know. I think they have different kinds of because it's a variety of creativity. Okay. It's not just it's a creative like
paintings and stuff, maybe the clothes,
visual design, all sorts of things.
All right.
They're doing that here. Cebu Design Week. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, of course.
So they're trying to do that too.
Are you part of that as well, the Cebu Design Week?
No, for me, music should be another category. Yeah.
Wow, we could talk all day, Cattski, but I know you have a recording with Miss Romualdez, the Viva recording star, who will record her song here in your studio. As a last message, perhaps, we have a lot of young potential singers out there, or at least those that are aspiring to be. What do you tell them? How do you encourage them? And also, if they want to know more about you and To the Tango Records and Room 11 Recording Studio, maybe you can tell them where they can get in touch with you on social media.
Sure. What my parting message would be this, and it's always the same all the time. You are the home of our music. So the more when you discover foreign music, you have to remember that there's a lot to discover here also. But more importantly, that's you. You are our home. So we hope that you will nurture and you will support the music that's being released from the artists. And that's how we can, if you consume our music, that's how we can have this relationship and connection, and we can grow together as an audience and as artists. So we hope that, I hope that you will take on that challenge, tell your friends about the music here. That would be great. I can work with you. If you have good songs, you can just send it to me. Just email info@22tangorecords.com. If you have songs that you want to share, just send it over there. And I guess that's it. Website, www.22tangorecords.com or room11.studio.
Facebook?
Yeah, we're on Facebook. Room 11. We're all there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Cattski.
No, thank you, Jigs.
And I want to hear a new song from you one of these days. I keep on telling you that all the time, right?
I will have one. Yeah, I will send it to you as soon as I have it.
And I hope you guys keep on supporting Cebu music so we can grow as a music city. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Pilosopo Podcast.